Welcome back, everybody. I'm doing something a little bit different. I got asked to make a video about different questions you need to ask yourself before you start dating. I don't know why people always come to me for relationship advice, but oh well, I said I would do it, so I guess we'll do it. Before we begin, you may hear some snoring in the background. That is just Gideon. He is very congested right now, so yeah. Oh, I have some exciting news though, so, because I don't think I've shared it with you guys yet. So, for those who are new, who's going to be watching this video, my 3-year-old son has a breathing tube in his neck called a trach. There's some other videos to show how to do a trach change and how to clean the trach and things like that. But that will be coming out probably not this coming week, either the second week or the third week of January. Maybe. It might be sooner than that, but with the new year and everything, I doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the week after. So right now, he has this plastic piece called a cap that's over the end, so he has to breathe by himself, hence the snoring. But, let's see, some other news with Gideon. Is that he might be having, or he's probably going to be having heart surgery sometime in 2019 to work on this valve. I think I talked about that a little bit in the last live stream that I did, which it's still heart surgery, so it's still important, but it's minor, kind of. But we're hoping that if this goes well, that he'll be able to come off some of his other heart medications. So that's some exciting news. Yay. Okay, so I wrote down a list of 10 questions that I feel everyone needs to ask themselves before they start dating. Whether it's that you're starting a new relationship, or if you haven't ever dated before and you're starting to date, these are some questions that you need to ask yourself before getting into any kind of relationship. Please bear with me. I didn't write my questions in order of the most important or the least important question that you need to ask yourself. So yeah, things might get kind of confusing. I hope it doesn't. I'm also not the best at explaining things, so we'll see how this goes. Question number 1. Where do I see myself in 10, 15, or 20 years? The reason why I feel like this question is important is because depending on your age, where you are in 10 years or 15 or 20 years can be completely different than where you are right now. If you're a high school student, which some of my subscribers are that age or close to that age, if you are a high school student, you can start as close as 5 years. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? 5 years, let's say you're 15. 5 years, you will be 20 years old. Where do you see yourself when you're 20 years old? Are you going to be in college? Are you going to be working? Yeah, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or where do you see yourself when you're 25? That'll be 10 years. Why I feel like that question is important is because depending on your career, it can dictate how much free time you have for personal relationships. So if you are in a career field where you don't have a lot of free time, you're probably not going to want to be dating anyone at that moment. So, and if you're wanting a serious relationship, that's probably the number one question you need to ask yourself. The most important question you should ask yourself first before you start dating is, am I just doing this for fun, or am I doing this because I have a goal of it being a serious relationship? When you're 15 or 16 years old, you don't necessarily have to be thinking about a serious relationship. But if you're wanting a serious relationship, then looking at what kind of career path you're wanting after you graduate high school can show you what type of a serious relationship are you going to be having. If you're wanting to join the military, and if you're wanting to go active duty, you might get deployed somewhere, and you might not be able to call every day, but you'll be able to write letters. Is that the type of relationship you're wanting? A long distance relationship where you don't see each other for 6 months, except for Skype every now and then. If you're wanting to go to college, are you going to go part-time? Are you going to go full-time? Are you going to be taking morning class, like day classes or night classes? Are you going to be working while you're in school? All of these questions can show how much free time you're going to be able to have to spend building friendships or relationships. My second question was, what kind of career do I want? If for whatever reason I can't have the one I originally picked, what's my backup plan? When I was 17, I think it was when I was 17, I was going through this class, to help me be prepared for graduating high school. And one of the things that we had to do was we had to pick 2 career paths that we wanted. One was going to be your main career path, and the second was going to be if, for whatever reason, the first one doesn't work out. My original career path was the military. I wanted to be a combat medic. I wanted to be active duty, but I ended up being in reserve as a cook because they didn't have any spots available for me in an active duty setting to be a combat medic. So I thought, well, being reserve at least gets my foot in through the door. I don't think I came up with a backup plan as far as career goes. So again, it's still a career path. It can show you how much free time you're gonna have. Okay. Third question. What do I want in a guy or a girl? I don't mean physically. I mean personality or emotionally. Like, what are you looking for in a significant other? When I was 15, my guidance counselor at school had asked us to write down a list of qualities we wanted in another person. And I had written down things like, that he needed to respect me for me, not judge me, not treat me differently in front of his friends. I had to be smart, but not like over the top, like big-headed. Someone who is kind and caring, who would take care of me and, you know, like not judge me when I'm feeling depressed, things like that. And so my next question goes along with that is, are my expectations reasonable? So, when you're going over your list of qualities that you're wanting in a guy, let's say you wrote down that he had to be a genius. That's a bit unreasonable. So instead you change it to that you're looking for someone to be smart or like intelligent. There are certain qualities that are never going to be unreasonable, that as a human being you should expect from someone. You should expect them to be kind and caring towards you and to respect you and not judge you, and you know, even if you don't feel love towards each other, like those are things that as a human being we should show to another human being, no matter the situation. To a certain degree. If someone's trying to shoot you or something, like that's different. But in a general setting where a what's the word I'm looking for? In a, not formal, but in a, I don't know, in a like a relaxed setting, like these are things that you should expect from someone. And the reason why I say you should ask yourself if your expectations are unreasonable is if they are too high, you're going to be disappointed because they're not going to meet them. They're human beings. And you can have them on your list. And so a sub question you should ask about that is, if I feel like these expectations are reasonable, if this person isn't going to be able to meet them, is that a deal breaker? Now I know most people hear deal breakers when it comes to, you know, getting married, but there are some deal breakers for when you're thinking about dating someone. That if they're a deal breaker for starting to date them, chances are they're going to be a deal breaker when it's time for them to pop the question. If one of your like if you're expecting them to be perfect 100% of the time, you're kind of going to be in for a rude awakening. We're humans. We're going to make mistakes. We're not always going to get everything right. Doesn't mean you throw everything away just because of one mistake, depending on what the mistake is. If you have on your list that he can't even flirt with a girl, or that's cheating, and he flirts with a girl after you've had a conversation about it, and then at that point, no, you're not being unreasonable. But even though you have to write your list of expectations, this is also a conversation you need to have with your significant other once you actually start dating. Like, these are the things that I expect. Maybe not use the word expect. People kind of get on edge. But say, like, these are the things that I'm looking for in you in this relationship. Things like that. Alright, moving on. What are my love languages? And how do you show love? So, for those who don't know what love languages are, even though I'm pretty sure I've mentioned them in other videos, there are 5 different love languages. There's words of affirmation, which is compliments, quality time, which is self-explanatory, it's just spending time with people, receiving gifts, acts of service, which is ongoing acts of helpfulness, and physical touch, hugs, kisses, playing with your hair, things like that. Rubbing your back, massages, doesn't necessarily have to be sexual things. But there's 5 different love languages. Most people have 2, a primary and a secondary love language. If you can't figure out 2 different love languages, you're not crazy, you're not weird. Chances are you probably don't have 2, or they're the same thing. So usually your primary love language is just that. It's how you personally experience love. Your secondary love language is sometimes how you show other people love. Why I say sometimes is because some people have 2 types of ways they experience love. Some people experience love in all of these different ways, with compliments and quality time and acts of service and physical touch and receiving gifts, things like that. Like, some people experience love all those ways. Myself, my love languages are probably quality time and physical touch. Or words of affirmation. Probably words of affirmation and quality time. Jordan's love language is probably words of affirmation and receiving gifts. My primary love language is quality time. My secondary love language is words of affirmation. Jordan's primary love language is words of affirmation, and his secondary one is receiving gifts. Why I put them in that order is because the way that I experience love the most is by spending time with people. The way that Jordan experiences love the most is when you compliment him or say that you're proud of him or that you love him, things like that. He shows love with receiving gifts. When he goes to the store and he gets himself a soda, he usually buys me lollipops if they have lemon ones, because he knows those are my favorite. And so he brings them home because he knows that it makes me smile and makes me happy. My secondary love language is words of affirmation, which it works out with Jordan and I because his primary love language is words of affirmation. So I tell Jordan randomly throughout the day that I love him, things like that, or And I give him compliments like, oh, your hair smells good, or whatever. Things like that. Most people have a harder time figuring out the love language of their significant other. And the reason why it's important to figure out what your love languages are, as well as how you show love, is because they can be different than your significant others. And so if you don't know how you want to be shown love, how do you expect your significant other to figure it out? So knowing these things, you can sit down and have a conversation and say, these are the ways that I experience love. This is what you're doing instead. Is this your love language? And if so, what can I do differently to make sure that you understand that I love you, or that I care about you, or whatever. The biggest issue why relationships nowadays don't work for very long is that people don't communicate with each other. And I know that I sound like an old grandma when I say that, but it's true. People are more focused on social media, that social media has completely closed people off from communication. You have a phone in your hands. You could send a text or call someone. But we're too busy looking at YouTube videos of cute animals to be able to talk to each other. And the biggest thing that relationships need is communication. Communication and trust. And if you're not having a conversation about different problems your relationship is having, it's going to crumble. But your foundation for your relationship should be built on a mutual understanding of each other's love language. Because, as I said, every person can have a different one. If you're showing someone love in the way that you want to be shown love, they're not going to be experiencing love, and they're going to feel worn down after a while. And so, I think every girl tends to have 3 different love languages. I think that she has her primary and her secondary, and a third one, because I think she has 2 primary love languages, and then how she shows love. I think every girl has a love language of words of affirmation. We love being told that we're doing a good job, or that people are proud of us, or that we look hot, or whatever. Like, we love to hear that from our boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. And so it's important to speak life into your significant other. Both if you're a guy dating a girl, or a guy dating a guy, or a girl dating a guy, or a girl dating a girl, like, that is important no matter the relationship. Breathe life into each other. Like, let your significant other know when they're doing a great job about something. And when you're noticing that your relationship is having issues, sit down and talk about it. Don't argue. Be mature about it. Sit down. Maybe take 24 hours to write down the things that you feel you're having issues on, as well as how you can fix them, because you can spend all day talking about the issues you're having in your relationship, But if you're not willing to put in the work to fix them, you're going to be stuck in a broken relationship. And not every relationship deserves to be, cut out of your life just because you're humans and you make mistakes. Now, if they're hitting you or making you uncomfortable or something like that, if they're hurting you in some way, either physically, emotionally, or mentally, I don't care what they do that works, that's good. Get out of that relationship. That's not healthy. That's not how a relationship should be. That goes for both guys and girls, because girls can be abusive too without even realizing it. But I think the biggest thing that most people need to work on in their relationship is their love languages and understanding each other's. Next question is, what vibe am I putting off? This one can be a little bit harder to answer. Because, you can do your general question, like, am I putting off a negative or a positive vibe? Are you the type of person to complain about everything, not think that there's any positive in the world, to always expect the worst in every situation? Or are you the type of person to, be optimistic and say, well, there's a reason for every situation, or, to make the best of any situation, really? What kind of vibe are you putting off? Are you evil? Are you good? Or are you neutral or chaotic? Are you chaotic neutral, where you don't really care about anything? Like, rules are made to be broken if it benefits the people around you. I already shared that's about Star Wars. Because, well, that's BRB. What I mean by saying that I think it's about Star Wars is that I read that in an article, and I think that they were talking about Star Wars, but I don't remember 100%. But yeah, what kind of vibe are you putting off? You attract what you put into the world. And I know you probably hear that from everyone, but it's true. If you're putting out negative energy, you're going to receive negative energy. If you're putting out positive energy, you're going to receive positive energy, either from social media, the news, life in general, or the people around you. So look at the kind of outlook you have on life. Not saying that if you have a negative outlook on life, you can't attract positive energy. Because when I met Jordan, I had a very negative outlook on life, and he helped me see the world in a better light. But chances of that happening are very slim, very small. They don't happen very often. Next question is, am I ready? So if you are someone who is thinking about dating someone after a breakup, this is an important question for you to ask yourself. Am I ready? Have I moved on from this other person? Or every time I hear their name, does my heart skip a beat and I go crazy again? If the answer is no, then you have to ask yourself, am I trying to get back at him? Am I trying to make him jealous? Or is this a rebound? If it's one of those three things, don't even do it. That's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for the other person, and it's not fair for the other person if they're wanting a serious relationship. Being a rebound doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in a relationship with them. You're just wanting someone to have sex with, then hooking up with someone, if everybody involved understands what's going on, then that's one thing. Still not healthy, but it's better than just being in a relationship just to have a rebound. Do I value myself, or do I only feel self-worth if I am in a relationship? This is one that I wrote down because I see this in a lot of other people's relationships. I see this in a lot of the subscribers that I know online who I've talked to. I've seen it. And I don't know if this is the case or not, but I know like the younger you are, the more value you put in a relationship or put on a relationship, and so then when it ends, you feel devastated about it. Thing is, when you're young, especially when you're in high school, you don't need to be focused on that. And because we live in a time where it's okay to wait. It's okay to work on yourself and work on your career and get your feet on the ground before you even think about having a serious relationship. And you need to take a hold of that. Not saying that you can't meet your soulmate when you're in high school. I'm not saying that at all. But it's a lot of work. And most kids nowadays don't have the patience or the time span, or not time span, but the attention span to put in the work. When my parents were in high school, they were told that they were expected to marry outside, like once they graduated high school. That was normal. So you see a lot of couples my parents' age who met when they were in high school, who married right out of high school, who had kids a year later, like, because that was a social norm. But we live in a world that we don't expect that anymore. And at least social media doesn't expect it. Our parents might. Maybe not like my generation. My generation who have kids or who had kids when they were young don't expect that. But the generation before that, our parents' generation, who can be some of the parents to subscribers, or like the great-grandparents, but the grandparents to some of my subscribers, they still have that mindset. I mean, you constantly hear the joke of like guys who are single where their grandparents are like, when are you gonna meet a girl? When are you gonna have kids? Blah, blah, blah. Like, because they still expect that. But if you are just getting in a relationship because you feel like you only have worth when you're in a relationship, you really need to work on yourself first. Because no matter how much someone else loves you, it won't make you love yourself. Someone else's love for you will not overpower your insecurities or fix any validation you want. If we don't have a healthy relationship with ourselves and see ourselves negatively and unlovable, it can be almost impossible for someone else to convince us otherwise. Work on loving yourself first. They say that you can't love someone else until you love yourself first, and I don't agree. I don't agree with that. But they also say you accept the kind of love you think you deserve. So if you think that you deserve a crappy relationship, you're going to stick in a crappy relationship. If you think you deserve more than that, then you're going to expect more than that. So I don't think that you necessarily can't love someone else if you don't love yourself, but you're not gonna let someone love you more than how you love yourself. Unless you have an open mind of growing in a relationship. If you meet someone who shows you love every day and who takes care of you and makes you feel good, that's great, but you need to grow with that. You need to take that, and instead of just thinking that it's not true, that they're crazy, blah, 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 whatever, you need to think, well, maybe it's true, and figure out how you can look at yourself the way that they see you. And the last question I have is, who am I really listening to for advice on dating? Are you listening to social media, who have some really outrageously ridiculous advice about dating? Or are you listening to your friends when they tell you you're spending too much time with too many of the wrong types of people? Who you seek advice from will significantly impact how you approach dating and who you date. If you listen to your friends when you say, oh, he might not be the best type of person, they're not trying to keep you single or hurt your feelings or anything like that. Sometimes they can just tell whether or not the guy is a good guy or good girl or whatever. And so it's really important to listen to your friends, especially because they know you. At the same time, I'm not saying that you need to, listen to every rumor about a person. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, I can think of a lot of rumors that got spread about friends of mine in high school that weren't true at all. And it kept people from dating them because of it. But at the same time, don't be a dick. If you say that you had sex, I saw this post on Twitter too. If a guy says that he had sex with, or spread a rumor saying that he had sex with you and you didn't actually have sex with him, he is giving you the power to say anything about how he is in bed. You can tell him tell people that, yeah, he has a small dick, or he likes to, that he likes to make sheep noises or something. Yeah, he has given you the power to say anything about how he is in bed. So don't be a dick. If you're gonna spread a rumor about someone, expect them to spread a rumor about you. you're not wanting them to say something negative about you, then don't say anything negative about someone else. Spreading lies about people is not correct. That's not the right way of handling a situation. I hope you like this video. I hope that it helps. Not that I'm expecting any of you to actually listen to me. I'm just a 23-year-old on YouTube. But I do hope that you learn something from it. If you have any more relationship questions for me, I guess I can start a series of relationship advice videos. I'm not an expert or anything. I've just seen a lot of relationships end for the same reasons. But yeah, I hope that y'all have a great night. I love you guys. I'm hoping to do a game stream tomorrow since it's New Year's Eve. If you guys don't have any plans, pop in, say hi. I might be drinking, don't know yet. Otherwise, I hope you give this a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notifications, and please don't expect me to be consistent in my videos because I'm not consistent. I'm going to try to be a little bit more consistent starting January 1st, but we'll see. Anyway, hope y'all have a great night. Love you guys. Bye.